News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to Core TV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click Core TV, leave a space, then News. Core TV News, a 24-hour news station.
Thanks for joining us again on Core Digest Tuesday. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. I am all smiles because I am proud to be a Nigerian. Today especially, that WHO, of course, it happened yesterday, but we're here today still basking in the euphoria of the Nigeria's Ebola status. Of course, the question on our lips is if Nigeria is free indeed, what should happen to the habits that got us here, the factors that brought us here, the kind of attitude that brought us to this level? What exactly is your role and what should we do at this time? Okay, I'm joined in a live studio by Dr. Joe Oke Ojumaki, and she's the president of Women Arise Campaign for Democracy, leader of the Rescue Our Girls hashtag, and recipient of International Women of Courage in the U.S. Good morning, Doctor. It's good to have you join us again.
Good morning.
On Core Digest. All right, let's start with this Ebola of a thing before we move on to the ceasefire deal. How did you feel as a Nigerian and as someone who was also active, you know, during the Ebola campaign? How did you feel when we were declared as a nation as Ebola free yesterday?
Well, it was with great excitement, hope, and also wondering that if the fight, if the crusade against the spread of Ebola can be curbed in Nigeria, that there is that collective responsibility, there's that high level of patriotism, that if we can put it apart from health and in all other sectors, political sectors, education, and others, that we're really going to have a Nigeria that works, because one could imagine that out of the cases that we had, 60% were declared Ebola free after the treatment they went through. So this is not a time for us to go back. This is not a time for us to stop in the awareness campaign. This is not also a time for us to stop being hygienic. This is rather another wake-up call for us. We are now at that pedestal in the international community where we now attract that level of respectability. At least that Nigeria has walked the talk. Nigeria can be used as a positive example, and that at the end, our green passport will remain that source of pride. It's not seeing a green passport and being skeptical about the carry of that passport or thinking of how to quarantine, such a person. So I really think that I'm so excited, and it's also a sign of relief. Apart from that, one will remember all those that paid the supreme price for us to be where we are today. We can never, ever forget them.
Well, beyond all of that, this report shows the kind of potential that we carry as a nation. I spoke earlier with a medical practitioner who also emphasized that one major factor that worked for us was our ability to work together beyond our political, ethnic, and religious divide, to join hands together and fight these to an end. Why do you think it's impossible to bring this to bear on other issues like politics, like leadership, like economic growth, and many other issues that are germane in Nigeria?
Well, it's because of lack of political will. That's first and foremost. And secondly, there's always that sharp division. I read one small pamphlet that during the slave trade era, a Guyanese planter and his friend exchanged correspondence. And his friend asked him, how do you keep all these slaves under your control? He said, we simply keep them divided. The more united we are in doing everything in terms of, politics should not be a do or die affair. Apart from that, those who turn, to capitalize on poverty of ideas, real poverty that is ravaging us as a nation. We'll continue to use something to divide us as a race. So as we have all come together, irrespective of party affiliation, irrespective of religious inclination, we have all decided, to come together and confront that virus. I think that with determination, and if we also have it at the back of our mind, that those who fought for one nation are nationalists, and even those of us who are still around now that are trying to make Nigeria work, that if we should put aside all differences, things that tend to divide us, that we still come together and we unite and we'll have a greater and a more prosperous Nigeria. But
Okay.
the report that who are giving us, the clean slate, like I said, there must be more unity. We have to be extra vigilant. We still have, sad enough, our neighbors in Liberia and Sierra Leone. We still have some of our people traveling. Apart from that, we have our border still being porous. And then we'll have our airport. We'll have to be extra vigilant. Screening must continue. If I'm going to travel now to the US, I'll still be screened. I'm going to travel a few days from now. I'll be screened. So people that are coming inside the country, people that are coming outside, those who are entering through the border, they must be properly equipped. They must be properly trained. And such screening should not stop, because it took only a Sawyer for us to have such level of colossal waste of life. And so if we should think that who has given us a clean slate and then we should go back and sleep, no, that's going to be serious mistake. We must ensure that we keep our environment clean. We must also ensure that our borders, those who go in and out of our borders, are properly screened. Those who travel, who come into the country, are also properly screened. And anytime we suspect anything, symptoms like that, one should always go and report. Or any death, we must ensure that we have death certificates.
It's all right. Let's leave the issue of Ebola for a while now and talk about a more pressing issue. Today makes it 187 or 88 days, if I'm not mistaken, now after the abduction of the...
Yeah, 190.
190. Oh,
Yes.
today makes it 190 days.
6 months and 7 days.
And 7 days.
190.
But let me start with, you are the leader of the hashtag Rescue Our Girls. What relationship do you have with the Bring Back Our Girls campaign team? Because there are opinions that your own group is more sympathetic to the federal government-led administration, and the other group is, some are of the opinion that the other group is a little bit far apart. Do you enjoy any relationship at all?
No, I think the mistake, just to correct it, we'll have Rescue Our Girls, we'll have Bring Back Our Girls, we'll have Release Our Girls.
Okay.
The ones that are released are the ones who people are insinuating that they are sympathetic to the government. But our girls were taken on the 14th of April, and I've spent all my life, as a change agent. So when our girls were taken on the 14th of April, on the 15th, Women and Rights issued a statement, rescue the girls.
Okay.
2 days after that, our board met, and then we changed it from rescue the girls to rescue our girls. And then after, we changed it to rescue our girls now, because we believe that only somebody who is alive can be rescued, one. Secondly, we did not popularize the hashtag.
Okay.
So rescue our girls started actively April 17, while Bring Back Our Girls, had not started. Bring Back Our Girls started some few days, maybe 14, 15 days. But it's just like, I've been a rights activist, and I believe that we can have groups, those who believe in certain cause. The reason why that name, we took to that name, rescue, is that you can rescue somebody who is alive. And don't forget what I said, that we did not popularize the hashtag. I wasn't too active on Twitter, and so many of us were not too active on Twitter. So when Bring Back Our Girls came, well, it's another boost, another campaign. All we're saying is that we need our girls, and that's why it's Bring Back Our Girls now and alive. We can only rescue someone who is alive. So, it's extremely impossible to clap with one hand. For us to have resounding applause, you have to clap with both hands. So we have had to push that cause further. Rescue our girls, we've traveled to all the states, and why bring back our girls is also at the forefront. We are looking at one goal, and that goal is getting, to the destination. We've also had hostility regarding I was in Kaduna for a rally. We were stopped. The commissioner of police stopped us, and I was in Kaduna, I was in Jigawa. Some of those states were not even allowed to move. Alhaji Balarabe Musa was also with us, and we were warned, we were to be tear gassed and everything. So in terms of being sympathetic, no. These people, the other school of thought, the third one believes, they said, is release our girls. They believe that Boko Haram are the ones who should release our girls. And then we rescue believe that it is the collective responsibility of everyone. So far that the government has that constitutional responsibility to secure lives and property. So the government must do all it can within the constitutional responsibility to rescue these girls. And citizens themselves have to be vigilant. Okay. And that is just the distinction between the three: the rescue our girls, bring back our girls,
and the release our girls. But in your own opinion, how would you describe the, what's your own perception as regards the position taken by the federal government in reacting and responding to these groups?
Well, I think that in terms of being sensitive, the federal government must also realize that there must be servant-leader relationship. Okay. Those who are there have been voted to serve, and that must give that human face. There is no reason why citizens who think that our girls have been held hostage for things, and they want to have an audience with government. Government should be readily available. At times, people will want to postulate that there are different assignments that government will have to do. And so government can delegate some of its ministers. But by and large, there should not be any room for hostility, because these are responsible citizens, mothers, sisters that believe in conducting themselves in such a free and a responsible atmosphere. So government must be responsive and responsible in trying to meet citizens, get their demands. On the part of our rescue, we wanted to go to Sambisa, and then we wrote. In the response, we're being told that we will serve as security threat. And apart from that, being that there's hostility everywhere, anything can happen. I might be taken with my groups, and the next thing we'll start talking about rescue Joe now, rescue. So, but I think in terms of citizens, very soon, some of these politicians will come to ask for votes. We should treat our citizens with a high level of respect and decorum. And citizens, on their own part, should also respect those at the end of affairs. So it's a two-edged sword. So I should see no reason why there will be a peaceful protest that should be carried out, and then government will shut its door, or government will appoint aides that will become unnecessarily insulting.
Do you think that apart from Mr. President being the commander-in-chief and the #1 citizen of the country, apart from him identifying with these groups, that beyond all of that too, many have also asked that Mr. President should have individually, in person, attended to this group, identify with them, and, for instance, there was a march to Asurok to engage Mr. President as regards what job is being done, how far the job has gone. Do you think Mr. President should have honored such march in person other than sending representatives?
I think if there is nothing that is extremely urgent that involves the presence and attention of Mr. President should have done all that is within his reach in ensuring that he grants audience to this, because this will go a long way in assuring citizens that at least they have a president who has a listening ear and who is ready, to listen. Because, like I've said, except we are given other reasons, except Mr. President is not in the country, except he's attending to extremely, I mean, things that are very, very urgent that involves life. That's the only reason why he cannot grant such audience. But I think that granting an audience like that, citizens we look at, for him. Apart from that, parents, guardians, all of us, we are stakeholders in the Nigerian project. So it's important that our president will have demonstrated, that high level of concern in coming out. So far that it's not as if our people are lawless. I mean, they assembled in an orderly manner. So I don't know the reason. I've not heard any reason that was given why such an audience was not given.
Was not granted.
Was not granted.
Okay. The last time I had you on set, you made mention. I asked you about what you think about these girls being released, and you said you are an incurable optimist. Sometimes last week we heard of a ceasefire deal between the federal government and the terrorist sect Boko Haram. What was your initial reaction to that announcement?
Well, my initial reaction to the announcement, I mean, last week Friday, when I heard of the ceasefire, well, I was first skeptical because we have had series of news, we've had conflicting signals, we've not been adequately and properly carried along. Although, when it has to do with security, we don't have to lay all our cards bare. There's still some information that we'll have to conceal, I mean, so that we don't jeopardize the whole process. So when I heard of that, and then when it also involved the Secretary General of the Boko Haram, is it Danladi Amadou? I mean, one was so skeptical. But, 24 hours after that, and then the Damboa attack in Borno State, I still remember July, painful enough, when several people were massacred in that Damboa. Apart from that, Damboa is like 85 miles apart from Maiduguri, and Boko Haram people hosted their flag there. So 24 hours after the ceasefire deal, there was an attack in that place where the terrorist groups also suffered their own casualty. And I know that security agents, in compliance with the ceasefire directive, will not fold their arms akimbo and watch the whole of Damboa village being overrun. So they have to respond. And in that response, they recorded casualty. Where in the ceasefire deal, just like we know in all spheres of life, we'll have factions. Boko Haram too, I know they have their commanders, they are factionalized. Today we hear about the death of their leader, tomorrow the resurrection of their leader, another person, comes up. So I think that the ceasefire really, even on Sunday, about 6 people were beheaded in southern part of, forgotten the name of that place now, of Taraba. About 6 people were beheaded and some people were killed. So the ceasefire thing, although it's been breached, but there's still hope from what I read in the papers, how involved the Chadian president has been. And then the talks that has been going on. We know that probably today, tomorrow, as we've read in the papers, we are looking forward to the rescue of our guests, having our guests being united. But I just want to warn that anyway, I am so optimistic that the ceasefire deal will not fail.
Let me quickly remind you that there was a time when the chief of defense staff also came up to say, we know where the girls are, but we can't go there for their safety. Many have also questioned the professionalism with which the military authorities in Nigeria deal with such information. Were you of the opinion that even if there was a ceasefire, was it important that that deal be of public knowledge, especially at this critical time?
Yes, just as we realize that citizens have tested so much in terms of information, getting information, and then the time we're told that the guests were cited by the military authorities, people were looking forward to that. When if they were cited, that was why some people felt that if that place should have been bombed and some of our guests would have been rescued. But a lot of people said, well, let's leave it like that so that we don't record colossal loss. Yes, in as much as there is tremendous pressure, people want information. They want to know the limits that military authorities are gone in terms of the rescue operations. I think that it was rather premature and not too matured and probably not well handled for citizens to have been given such information. I think that such information might serve as a soothing balm. It might have even helped to save lives. Let's also remember that about 6 of the parents have died, and getting such information might get some people up from their sick bed. But I think that time wasn't too ripe enough for us to be fed with such information, because getting such information now, some people that do not really want ceasefire, they are gone to attack if our military authorities have not repelled them. Let's also remember that Damboa was where our lieutenant colonel was killed and some of our soldiers. So for the terrorists to get such information and they start coming, so it's a management of information. Well, we appreciate the level at which citizens are fed with information, but I think that might not have been properly handled.
With the headline on some of Nigerian dailies, for instance, this one says, ceasefire collapses as army fights back. 25 Boko Haram insurgents killed in Bornu. And this is coming few hours to the much awaited, today is Tuesday, and the federal government is saying the girls, as promised, will be released today. Are you still optimistic? You know, if you put that side by side with the front line, the headline stories on the dailies today?
Yes, the headline stories that I read today was quite disturbing. But having to analyze everything, like we know factionalization almost everywhere. I mean, what can one even say about a lawless and bloodthirsty group that will have different commanders and, you know, they can do all sorts of things? So with this ceasefire that was announced, some of them still felt that it was not yet time for Uhuru. Some of them have been totally brainwashed that they have the urge, they still want to go and take blood. They still want to get infidels killed. So, but reading through the whole thing, apart from the headline, one will come to realize that, yes, there's no way that the military will not fight back. They have to comply with the ceasefire. After compliance, at least they will have to stay there to secure everywhere, which is the constitutional responsibility. But in doing that, like we said, some of the Boko Haram militants came and started attacking. And if they had not fought back to repel them, even with the armored carrier that was seized, I'm sure that after running down that place, they will start heading, you know, further. So I think that it's quite disturbing, but as at this moment, although sad enough, we have recorded lives, needless lives that have been lost in Damboa, in the southern part of Taraba. But I still hope that up to this moment, our people, I mean the military authorities, must remain vigilant in ensuring that those who refuse to comply with the ceasefire directive, at least the full weight of the law will be brought to bear.
Them. Yep. It's all right. We'll take a short break now on Cold Digest, and when we come back, of course, we open the phone lines to hear from you and continue our discussion as we count down to the release of the Chibok girls. Stick around. Don't go away. Thank you for joining us again. It's Cold Digest Tuesday as we count down to the release of the Chibok girls amidst the ceasefire deal between the federal government and the Boko Haram. I still have Dr. Okeodumaki right here with us in the studio. Thank you very much for staying the course on the show. Now, many have questioned the morality behind extending olive branch to such a dreadful sect that has been responsible for the deaths of thousands of innocent Nigeria, and we're still counting. How do you justify this? Because the federal government already says that if you are a member of the Boko Haram, all you need to do right now is to just surrender. If you surrender, we're going to forgive you and take you through a rehabilitation process. Many have questioned how that justifies even the thousands of Nigerians in prison. Many of them who are just minor offenders are waiting trial and rotting away. It means that maybe an average Nigeria can just take up arms and start killing people. You can be sure that someone will be there to forgive you. What are your thoughts along this line?
It's a very, very painful decision. Having considered the colossal wastes of lives, having considered the height of impunity, although one will also want to reason that there is no amount of sacrifice that one will pay for the rescue of these girls. Because for the Boko Haram set to be given presidential pardon, if I understand in totality that that is the part of the ceasefire deal, meaning that all the commanders, all those who have committed crime against humanity that are in detention, some of them have been tried and some of them have been found guilty. Some of them are still killing, that all of them will be given clean slates and then they can be given amnesty. So yes, how does one justify it? I've been to several prisons. I've also been imprisoned. Apart from that, I keep visiting prisons. And at times we have to intervene. Somebody stealing yam, somebody beating minor offenses. Some of them are in prison. Their health have been totally compromised. And we still find those people in prison. And they are looking, they have witnessed people carry arms, people kill, people bomb. And at the end of the day, they are giving presidential pardon. That signal given is a very, very bad omen. Probably one will even say, let us start Nigeria from a clean slate. If this ceasefire deal says true, and all those who have killed have been given presidential pardon, let us review those who are in prison, those who have been detained. Let's even consider what they have done. Probably some of them too can be given pardon, and then they will go through rehabilitation. Because I want to tell you that some of our best and brightest are wasting away. Some of them have never been brought before any court of competent jurisdiction. So it's extremely difficult. But when one wants to justify this, or do not justify that, well, if the federal government refuses, that means our guests will still be with them. And if government should go and bomb where they are, it means most of them might not be saved.
Because, you know, some are also questioning that even with the release of the girls, does that certifies that that brings an abrupt end to insurgency in this part of the world? But just before you answer that, let's take this call from Ilori. Good morning, Olarewaju.
Hello, good morning.
Please go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, sir. I want to start my comment. The recent Ebola issue. Sincerely, I must commend Nigerian government because we see this dreadful disease as a common cause to fight. And I'm happy that the likes of Fashola and Rotimi, where the state experience the real Ebola, they play a kind of first-class attention to this issue. And at the same time, I must comment that our government not politicizing the issue, despite the fact that it belongs to different political parties. They see it as a common front and something they need to refer to the latter. I thank them all for that. But at the same time, I want to charge the Nigerian government that regardless of the political affiliation, anything can bring about the progress and development of this country should not be politicized. This being the related issue like corruption and other issues that have downsized the progress of the state into the present state, we declare a common war to hit. Nigeria will never be. Yes, we are of Africa, just by paper. It's not in recent. The rate at which corruption has gone. We need to set politics apart and face the whole issue wholeheartedly if truly we mean the business. I commend the matter on the activities taking place during the Ebola exercise because we listen to our comments and activities, our doggedness, notwithstanding this is a female. We commend that like that, and worth emulating among the ladies, so that anything that happens to our society or country, would you see it as something that happened to our immediate family? If
Yeah, that's right.
Nigeria has the kind of call, definitely Nigeria will move forward. Yesterday, I want to make my comment on ceasefire. You remember yesterday that I talked on this matter, that the nature of the issue has not shown the true sincerity of the cause on ground. I said it now yesterday that only federal government was making the comment of nothing from the Boko Haram people that justify that they're really ready to negotiate in reason. But when you look at what happened yesterday, you discover that it seems as if a lot of interest and intricacies still center on the matter. If not, we are expecting the ladies today, the daughters today. But what happened yesterday shows that there are certain hiccups somewhere, which I believe we are yet to get it right. If truly we want to fight the cause, it's a collective responsibility. And I said it yesterday that some people would like to sabotage the effort of our government because they are eating fat on this matter. And unless and until we sit tight and we apply a first-class attention to this matter, not that I'm from Kwara, not that you are from where you are, anything that happened thereof in Nigeria, we should see it as something that needs to be fought. As it, we are fighting a cause in our immediate family.
It's all right.
God bless Nigeria.
And God bless you, Olarawaju, calling from Ilori. Very quiet, incisive contribution there. You know, I was asking you earlier because the justification or the argument rather for extending olive branch to these sects is for the release of the Chibok girls. Do you think that even upon the release of these girls, we are going to eventually now have peace in the northern part of the country, and that will eventually put an end to insurgency?
Yeah. Apart from having our guests released, rescued, I think that if there's a total compliance,
Okay.
ceasefire, we are going to have bits and pieces of those who still carry arms. But I think to a large extent, if we're able to have total ceasefire, if our guests rescued, that is not only our guests now that should be the yardstick, because if it's only our guests, that means we can have our girls rescued, and before you know it, we'll have some other persons with them. So there must be that lasting ceasefire. And just like the person who contributed from Ilorin has said, there's strength in unity. We have to be united. We have to stop all this abracadabra, all this political Ebola that is ravaging. You know, anything Ebola is ravaging. So all the politics in and there.
Let me hold you for a while, Doctor. We have another caller from Ibadan. Good morning, Tunde.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome to Call Digest. Go ahead with your contribution.
Okay. The problem I have with this government is this. Now, what will be the fate of those people that have been killed? Now, the federal government wants to negotiate with the Boko Haram, the murderers. Are you now encouraging people to be killing others? Because now, if you should pardon them, you should give them presidential pardon or whatever you call it. Now, as this will encourage others to go into crime with the mind that after I have done this and I'm being called federal government to pardon me, or if I should kill people after some time that I'm not being caught, I can easily go and negotiate with federal government and even get compensation with it. In this case, federal government is not protecting the society. They are not protecting the citizens. We need to work on this. You know, we encouraging criminality. Yes, just because of 200 plus of daughters. Then what will be the fate of those people that are dead initially? And what will be the peace? Federal government needs to work on this in order for us not to encourage criminality in the country. And please, madam, you still need to help us in fighting this. I really commend your effort of what you have done previously. But we still need to work on this for us not to encourage criminals in order to continue their atrocities in this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much today for your contribution. Well, beyond all of that, quite a number of people criticizing giving amnesty to people who have killed. Whether we like it or not, that is undergoing, that is effective now. But the big question is what happens to the other Nigerians we were discussing earlier who are in prisons, who have not even done half of what these people have done?
Yes, that is, we are talking about a country where justice, fairness, and equity must reign at all times. And giving amnesty to those who have committed crimes against humanity. I mean, I was in Abuja, I think 12 hours before the plaza was bombed. Anyone will have been victim. And then we'll have several deaths underreported. And these people are the ones carrying out the crime. So what signal that portend for us? We have that rule of law. Everyone must be equal before the law. Anyone who is guilty must be tried and must be made, to the long arm of the law must be made to go through that process so that at the end, if that person is taken through any judicial process, it will serve as a deterrent to others. But when people are not brought before trial and they are given amnesty, what do we have to say about several people? I've told you that I've been to prison several times to see people, even some are armed robbers. Some will tell you, this is the first time I'm handling the gun and I never used it to kill. What of those who have killed several? So now we want to grant them amnesty. There must be truth and reconciliation, committee. You see, I feel so sad and I feel so bad as a rights advocate that we have others who have committed lesser crimes and they are wasting and rotting away. While we have others that are known, that think that might is right because they have the power, so might is right. If we do that, some other people might come out next time again, carry arms, kill, and at the end, hold some people hostage, because knowing that at the end of the day, there will be amnesty. We'll have to critically look at this process and also ensure that we treat all our citizens as same.
Let's take this call from Adamawa. Good morning, Jonah.
I'm saying now is there is a negotiation. I understand on the TV now that there's a negotiation with Boko Haram members. And it's a reality because up to now we are still receiving displaced people from my village. My village has been razed down completely by Boko Haram members. And I is saying that they are negotiating with the Boko Haram. As I'm talking to you now, yesterday I was receiving people who have been displaced from my village. They dismissed some people from my village as at yesterday. And I'm receiving them in Yola up to yesterday in the evening. I can't understand what they're saying, that their government is negotiating with Boko Haram. If they are negotiating and they are killing, is it reality or is a false, is a fake story? And because what the Boko Haram are doing to my people in Nigeria is uncalled for, and we are not receiving any single government assistance at all.
It's all right, Jonah. Thank you very much for your contribution. But okay, but I think we lost that call. I would have loved to hear the particular name of your own community that you just reported has been raised by Boko Haram. Let's just round up this way. At one hand, we are being celebrated globally, for fighting Ebola. What are those things that worked for us in our fight against Ebola that you think, if we reproduce, can also work for us as we fight terrorism in Nigeria?
One critical thing that worked for us was that unity. We're all united, irrespective of party affiliation. And anybody comes from APC, PDP, NCP, we're all united to fight that disease ravaging us, and the Ebola disease. So, apart from that, we all acted as stakeholders in the Nigerian project. So there must be unity. We are talking about terrorism now. Nigerians must unite against terror. In order for us to secure Nigeria and end terror, there must be that strength in unity. And that is what is going to help us to bring this to an end. When we are talking about ceasefire, when Boko Haram is still killing, is still raising down villages, is still, we know some of these people around. Let's stop playing politics with human life. Let us, all of us, come together and unite against terror. Again, irrespective of our religious affiliation, it was being preached in churches, mosques, even African traditional religious setting, marketplace, anywhere. The awareness was fast and people were more conscious of the environment. So let us continue with this awareness. Wherever we find ourselves, anytime we get hold of the microphone and the pulpit, let's carry out the crusade in churches, mosques, schools, marketplace, motor parks. Let all of us be involved in this awareness, in this sensitization, so that people will know that criminality is not good. So that when terrorism is being fought, if one throws stone in a marketplace, nobody knows where that stone will hit.
Exactly.
So we must all be conscious. We must all be part of the sensitization and awareness process, so that we'll have a Nigeria that works. And having a Nigeria that works, we'll have a Nigeria where justice, fairness, and equity reigns.
Thank you very much. Dr. Joe K. Odumake is the President Women Rights Campaign for Democracy, as well as leader of the hashtag Rescue Our Girls, of course, recipient also of the International Women of Courage in the United States. I saw that clip and it made me proud. You and Michelle Obama. Wonderful, wonderful. I was having some goose pimples on my body. I was wondering what would be happening to you as an individual at a particular day. But that's another discussion for yet another thing. A big thank you for our callers. We had a call from Ilorin Olarinwaju. Thank you for your contribution today from Ibadan. And both of you emphasizing the need for Nigerians to work together at this time. Of course, also questioning the justification of an olive branch to a group that has been responsible for the deaths of thousands of innocent Nigerians. We got a call from Jonah in Adamawa State, who said his own particular community has been raised by Boko Haram, and he's questioning the integrity behind the negotiation that is ongoing. An African proverb says the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today, as we count down to the release of the Chibok girls. I'm Nifemi Ogunto. A Cold Digest continues tomorrow. Join us again.
Core TV News, expanding your view.